Icon Audio Arts.
The First Men in the Moon, written by H.G. Wells, narrated by Geoffrey, Giuliano, and the Icon Players. Welcome to the icon world of classical literature. Within the art of writing, there is a very special category reserved for what we generally agree to be stories and tomes which are a significant cut above, which so elegantly describe the human condition, winding their way word by word, chapter by chapter, through a delicate web of beautiful storytelling, as to remain untouched by even time. Those are, by definition, the classics. When the synergy of truth, intelligence, and insightful description come together in a tale which moves one emotionally, inspires, and educates, those works are indeed classic. To be so in tune with one's literary powers as to create, often from imagination, a story full of emotion, tender at heart, and overflowing with some illumined truth from deep inside, so that it can be universally recognized and relived by the eyewitness. That, too, is a classic. Here at Icon, we go far beyond the recommended reading list of the studious English language major to bring you what is the elemental soul of the art of the written word, so that you may, in your own way and time, enter into the story laid out before you to be forever changed and just that much more enlightened. That, then, is the true power of classical literature, and our humble attempt at its presentation herein as an audiobook to remember. Welcome. The First Men in the Moon is a scientific romance novel by English author H.G. Wells, originally serialized in the Strand magazine from December 1900 to August 1901, and published in hardcover that same year. Wells called it one of his most fantastic stories. The novel tells the story of a journey to the moon undertaken by two protagonists, a businessman narrator, Mr. Bedford, and an eccentric scientist, Mr. Cavor. Bedford and Cavor discover that the moon is inhabited by a sophisticated extraterrestrial civilization of insect-like creatures. Bedford is a London businessman, and also the narrator of this fantastical tale. Bedford rents a small countryside house in Kent, where he wants to work in peace. He is bothered every afternoon, however, at precisely the same time by a passer-by making odd noises. After 2 weeks, Bedford accosts the man, who proves to be a reclusive physicist named Mr. Cavor. Bedford befriends Cavor when he learns that he is developing a new material, Cavorite, which can negate the forces of gravity. When a sheet of Cavorite is prematurely pressed, it makes the air above it weightless and shoots off into space. Bedford immediately sees the commercial production of Cavorite a possible source of wealth enough to work any sort of social revolution we fancied. "We might own and order the whole world," says he. Cavor hits upon the idea of a spherical spaceship made of steel but lined with glass, and with sliding windows or blinds made of Cavorite, of which it can be steered, which persuades a reluctant Bedford to undertake the voyage to the moon. Quite reasonably. Cavor is certain there is no life there. On the way to the moon, they experience weightlessness, which Bedford finds exceedingly restful. On the surface of the moon, the two men discover a desolate landscape, but as the sun rises, the thin, frozen atmosphere vaporizes, and strange plants begin to grow with extraordinary rapidity. Bedford and Cavor leave the capsule, but in romping around get lost in the rapidly growing jungle.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?